So let's go ahead and begin the webinar. Again, this is a presentation on the topic of LionLink. My name is Tina Knight. I am the Director of Career and Professional Development on the Abington campus. My contact information is listed below. I also am a Penn Stater. I received my master's degree at Penn State, and so I have a special passion for this institution. And most importantly, I have a passion for helping students and fellow alumni. So if you have any questions that I can help to answer, please do not hesitate to reach out. I really believe in the Penn State Network, and I believe in that karma of giving and also receiving. So please reach out at any time, no matter what campus you're affiliated with. If I don't have the answers, I will work very hard to get you connected with the folks that do. So with that said, here's what we're going to cover in today's webinar. And we're going to do an overview of what LionLink is. And I should recognize, I would be remiss if I did not recognize that LionLink came out of the Penn State Alumni Association, Alumni Career Services. The great people there discovered that we had a real need to connect Penn State alumni with students. And so they put this platform, this wonderful tool in place. And so as you become alumni, make sure that you're also giving back and joining the Alumni Association. That's incredibly important. So we're going to walk through what LionLink is, what it is not, the goals of networking, which is ultimately what this tool is designed to do, which is to connect fellow Penn Staters. We're going to talk about this topic around informational interviewing, which is one of the primary ways in which people network. And then we're going to look at navigating LionLink. We'll actually go into the platform and certainly want to end by answering any questions that you might have. So please add your questions to the Q&A or the chat box, and I will do my best to get to all of them. Okay, with that said, what is LionLink? LionLink is a professional networking program. And so it is a program that you can engage as little or as much as you would like to engage. It is all self-directed, meaning you can go in, the alumni can go in. And by the way, every alum that is on the platform to answer your questions, they are volunteering. That's what a good alum of this institution does. They volunteer their time, their energy, their talent to help fellow Penn Staters. So this is a really strong, robust professional networking platform. Again, it is a tool to connect Penn Staters. It is a place to learn about careers and receive advice and guidance. This is super important for those of you who are exploring career options, choice of major. This is a place you definitely want to go because everyone on here has a career and is willing to help by providing advice and guidance to you. It is a great place to build your online presence and begin putting yourself out there in this professional way. It's also a place for you to share career tips. And so, you know, we all can learn from one another. And so I would ask you if you have any tips, and I'll show you where you can add that information. That's something that you want to do to give back to the network. And again, it's a way for alumni to give back. And so what you'll find when you get out there in your career, you oftentimes want to impart some of the wisdom that you've learned along the way. And I certainly hope that is true of everyone on the webinar today, that you will think about a way that you can give back to the community once you graduate. Okay, so with that said, I want to start out by talking about it's not just what you know, it's also about who you know. And so this idea around networking, what exactly does it mean to network? It is not a schmoozy conversation where you basically use someone for everything that they have. That's not what networking is. Networking is a reciprocal relationship where you're building alliances, mutual alliances that help you both accomplish what it is that you're coming to the networking relationship for. And so the purpose of networking, you could say, is to explore careers and clarify your goals, discover employment opportunities that are not advertised. This is a huge piece of what networking is all about. It's hopefully the goal of LionLink for you will be to expand your professional network, to build confidence for your job interviews, to access the most up-to-date career information. This is super important. You can read about careers. You can even, spend some time watching videos about careers, but there's nothing like talking with people who are actually in the industry or in the occupation that you desire to be in. So it's super important that you connect with folks to get the most up-to-date information. Also, networking is important to help identify your professional strengths and weaknesses. As you communicate with folks and they tell you about the things that the industry is looking for or that the occupation calls for, you want to begin to think, oh, maybe I should sharpen my Excel skills, or maybe I should work on my communication skills. Whatever it is that you find that maybe you have a deficit in, or maybe you actually possess the skills that are needed, will help you determine how you move forward. Okay, informational interviewing. Informational interviewing is probably the strongest strategy of networking. What it is, especially for students, this is a really strong strategy because it is designed to help you gain information. And so people look at this and say, wait a minute, am I going to interview alumni? And yes, you will be interviewing them, not for jobs, not for internships. You're interviewing them for information. That's why it's called informational interviewing. And so informational interviews should be thought of as just like any strategy, any job search strategy, internship search strategy. You're going to want to go into it with a plan of action. For example, you may begin thinking about, where do I really want to work? Where do I want to gain experience? And so you want to come up with the places that you would love to work. You want to then begin to identify, who do I know that works there? If you don't know anyone in your personal network, certainly you want to go to places like LionLink to see if you can discover any alumni who work at those institutions. Okay, you want to use a very tailored message to reach out to alumni, and I'm going to show you momentarily a script that you can tailor and adapt to reach out to alumni on LionLink. I find over my long career in the field of career development that is oftentimes the sticking point for a lot of people. They don't know what to say when they reach out to someone to network with. So don't worry, today we're going to give you an actual script that you can use to begin reaching out and feeling confident that you're not making any missteps. Okay, also you want to have a plan, and once you reach out to someone, you want to determine a mutual time that you both can meet. You also want to come prepared to that meeting with a list of questions that you have. I know you might be thinking, oh, I don't know what questions I have yet. We actually have a list of questions that you can begin to utilize. And then certainly following an informational interview, you want to send a thank you note. I cannot say enough about that. So many people neglect to send something as simple as a quick email. I recommend you go even above and beyond a simple email and maybe send a personalized card to thank someone for giving their time that they take to help give you advice and guidance. And then really important, probably the piece of the networking strategy that people neglect the most is the failure to stay in touch beyond the initial meeting. And so how does one stay in touch with someone that they've taken time out to meet with? One way that you can do it is based on your conversation. Obviously, you want to send a thank you note, but over time, you want to send a progress note. So for example, if you meet now in the month of July, and let's say in 2 months, 3 months time, you secure an internship based on the advice that the alumni on LionLink provide to you. You want to send them a note in 3 months, giving them an update. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I landed an internship with XYZ company. Thank you so much for the great advice you gave me on blank. It really helped make the difference in me securing this opportunity. And then don't let it just rest there. Maybe in the next 6 months or 9 months, you send another note of outreach to say, you know, hey, I'm doing really well in my internship. I really want to thank you. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please let me know. Or if you've discussed that this person is very engaged in a charity or something like that, you may ask, could I volunteer my time with you? So there are various ways that you can stay connected and stay in touch, but what I have found, that's where people fail the most. They neglect to stay in touch beyond the initial informational interview. Now, down at the bottom of this slide, you see one of the major tips that we recommend is that you use the career guide, the Penn State Career Guide, to help you develop all of this. And so I'm just gonna take us there for a moment so that I can share with you exactly what we are talking about. My apologies for not, I thought I had this up and running. So my apologies for that. But this is, I'm actually on the Penn State Abington website. And so you can go here. If you click on our 24/7 virtual tools, the very first tool that you see available is our career guide. And while that's loading, I just want to share with you, this guide is very comprehensive for any area of your job search, internship search. You want to come back to this resource. It pretty much has everything you need from career planning all the way through interviewing and on to graduate school. So it is a very comprehensive tool, and I really like it for the purpose of informational interviewing, because pretty much everything that you need to get started with an informational interview is here. So as you can see from this page, and I'll enlarge it just a little bit. Oh, my apologies. My computer's really slow. My apologies for that. As you can see, as I scroll through, there's a little bit here about resume writing as well. Okay, so there's lots of information here about networking. Let me just go back one. Here we go. This section talks about informational interviewing and what it is not, how to set up the interview, what you will gain as a result of it. Okay, and I won't belabor that. I just wanted to move on because I want to show you here, you will see an example of what to say when you reach out to someone on LionLink. Over here are questions that you want to be prepared to ask as you meet up with some of the professionals that you're going to connect with on LionLink. And when I say meet up, I don't necessarily mean you have to do it in person, although I find that to be one of the most effective strategies. But given the pandemic, it is certainly fine to jump on a Zoom conversation or Teams or whatever your mode of connection is. That's super important to try to do it face-to-face versus just email. But if that's all that the alumnus is willing to give, then take advantage of that as well. But here are some questions that you may want to ask while you're meeting with someone who's providing advice and guidance. Okay, so I find this to be particularly helpful. There's more in this guide about networking, how to prepare for it, the purpose, more about LionLink. So if you forget here, you can always come to the career guide to access the LionLink website. But the keys to networking, some of the goals, okay? So I'm gonna allow you to go through all of this yourself. I'm not gonna read this at this time, but I wanted to point it out to you, okay? So please take a look at this when you get a chance. Now let me go right back into our presentation and move on to our next slide, which is the career guide, and then on to navigating LionLink. So one of the first things that you're going to do is sign up for a free account using that URL that I just showed you, and I'll show you again momentarily. You're going to want to create your profile, prepare your brief bio, message, or script, review alumni profiles, make connections, and also take advantage of all of the other features. To get started though, it's important that you go to this URL. This will take you right there, and this should be the page that you see. Okay, so please take note of that. I'll give you a second before I move on. to take note of this URL. You're going to click the Join Today tab, okay, button, and then you will move on to see a screen like this. You can join LionLink several ways. You can use your LinkedIn profile, which I highly recommend if it's fully up to date and it's, you know, a robust profile. If it isn't, that's certainly something I will recommend that you work on. We have a webinar in a couple of weeks on the topic of LinkedIn. So if you're not sure how to navigate that, I would recommend you come back to this at this time and attend that webinar as well. But you can also join from Facebook, just as being a student at Penn State or via email, okay? And then once you join, you're going to be asked to set up your profile, your account, just as you would with any platform. But then it starts to get, you know, a little bit more tailored, specific to this, to LionLink. You're going to have to indicate, are you an alumna, are you a student, or are you a friend of Penn State? If you're a student, please use the student side. Otherwise, people will reach out to you for you to provide advice and guidance. We would prefer it be the other way around, that students are going to the alumni or the friends of Penn State. Okay, so indicate what your, how you're coming into this. Okay, and then you're going to be asked to share information about yourself. Ideally, you want to share a picture. I can tell you right now, you're more likely to get, to make connections with others if you have a photo. That is proven, you know, research that people have conducted on social media platforms, that you're more likely to engage with others if you provide a photo. I also recommend that you provide a headline. The headline could be catchy. It could get right to the point of what you're looking for, aspiring, you know, aspiring accountant, whatever it is that you aspire to. You could put that, or if you have a specific job title, or if you define your background in a certain way. Although my direct title is Director of Career and Professional Development, I like to use the title of educator or career development professional. That's how I identify myself. You also want to indicate your location. Okay, some other information that you'll be asked to share is what campus you are affiliated with. Anything with the asterisk by it, you have to include that information. So include what campus you are affiliated with. And for those of you that are affiliated with, let's say, Abington, but you also went to University Park, so you did the 2+2, you can indicate both campuses. So don't restrict yourself just to one thing. Make sure you're covering all of the campuses that you are affiliated with. You also have to indicate the college. So if you're part of SMEAL or some other college, you want to indicate that. You want to indicate the graduation year. Any student organizations that you are affiliated with, believe it or not, alumni are more likely to connect with you if you all have something in common, like student government or the Black Student Union. Some other topics that you're going to be asked to include are your geographic areas that you're interested in, international experiences, any other topics that you would like to discuss in this platform, activities and interests, any additional keywords that you want to include. So for example, if I'm a business major, but I'm only looking for advertising opportunities, I might include that. And then you'll also have to indicate how you heard about this platform. Okay, once you do all of that, you are ready to roll. You'll see a page that looks like this. And that's how you know that you are all set to begin using the platform. Okay, with all that said, some things that you're going to be asked, a few more additional questions that you'll be asked is, what are you interested in chatting about? And you can indicate, you'll see this menu of options, and you can indicate exactly what it is that you're looking for to discuss with alumni. Next is you want to learn more about these industries. Okay, and so you may want to be more specific so that they can, so that the platform can kind of aggregate and begin to to narrow down your options and people that they recommend you speak to. Okay, you can also narrow down your options based on where you want to live or reside. Let's say you're relocating to Los Angeles and you want to find fellow Penn Staters there. This is a great way to do that. And then you want to include your brief bio and message. Now, this is super important because you can use the tailored one from the career guide, or LionLink also allows you to use a few templates that they created. But I recommend that you try to really tailor this so that you are speaking to who you are, your strengths, things that you are hoping to gain from this platform. Okay, once you do that, like I said, they will begin to suggest, this platform will begin to make recommendations of people that you may want to speak with. Okay, so in this case, once I put in my background and information, they recommended that I speak with Ben. Okay, so that's just an example of what you would see next. Okay, and then once you see all of that, and by the way, if you noted there on that last slide, you can actually skip this section. And so you don't have to connect with anyone that they recommend, but it's just a way to get a little bit closer to your goal. If you choose to skip, you will then be brought to the homepage of the of LionLink. And at this point, you have many options. You can go to the homepage, you can begin browsing, which is where we'll spend quite a bit of time, discussion, resources, etc. And so at this point, let me show you exactly what we're talking about by going into the platform. And hopefully I didn't get logged out. I didn't. So right now I'm on the home page, and as you can see, there are some recommended connections that might come up, some bookmarks that I might have. I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit more so you can see. Down at the bottom, you will see no connections yet, add a profile photo. So it makes some recommendations of things I need to do. Okay, but up here on the browse bar, you can see a few things here. You can see discussion. And this is where people have posted content. So back on June 19th, Alyssa posted some career change advice, and then some folks have responded. Okay, and so you can see other articles and things like that under the discussion. Under resources, you will see various articles and postings regarding a myriad of topics. Things like how to better network, how to network in this COVID crisis, how to find your online passion. So you can see a number of topics, okay? Programs, you can see any programs that might be coming up. There is a learning community, so if you're trying to learn specifically about certain topics, that's included here as well. Events usually are posted here, especially during the school year. You'll see quite a few events posted. And then very important, and I cannot say this enough, help spread the word about LionLink. You can directly within this platform email your friends, or if you know family members who are Penn Staters, and you can ask them to join the platform. All here. Up here, you can see your profile, your preferences, so you can always change this. You can change your passwords and things like that. You can set your privacy, and this is super important. Please make sure that's one of the first things that you do when you get into the platform to ensure that you feel comfortable with the levels of privacy that you want held, okay? So make sure you do that. If you get any email, this is where you'll see that. Normally it's indicated by a number right next to it. You also, any notifications that come in, it will be indicated there as well. And you can get help at any time with the platform by clicking here. By far though, the area where you're gonna spend the most time is in the browse section. So I'd like to go there now. And once you are here, what I love about the platform is that it always indicates how many active users are on the platform and how many users are online as we speak. So as you can see, there are about 78 users on the platform at this moment, okay? And then active folks, there's over 6,000 people. So alone, that is a huge network of people that you could begin to tap into. All right, you could do a general search up here in the search bar. You can also do a location search, a major search. So if you want to find people that studied the same thing you studied, you can do that here. You can look for industries as indicated here. And please note this, review this area carefully, because you may think you're in one industry, but maybe it crosses over with another area. So indicate as many as possible that would fit your area of interest. Again, usually you want to type in your major and it'll begin to populate majors. So if I start putting in education, whoops, if I start putting in education, it will populate that, and then I apply, and then I will begin to get education majors. I recommend that you look at the more filters topic. This is really interesting. This is probably the thing I love the most about LionLink. If you look under this help topic, let's say you really want someone, I wonder if anyone out there is willing to review my cover letter. Cover letters are a challenging thing to write, and sometimes we don't always have a career counselor available to review our cover letters. And so you could click here and you could apply this search and find Penn Staters who are willing to do a cover letter review for you. What I absolutely love about this is believe people when they tell you, they raise their hand to say, yes, I'm willing to talk with people about mock interviewing, or I'm willing to talk with someone about choosing their major, or going to graduate school. They self-indicate what they are willing to talk with fellow Penn Staters about. So you can believe them that yes, they're willing to do a cover letter review. Is that the very first thing I would ask them to do? Probably not. I probably would want to try to get to know them a little bit better and then make an ask by saying something like, typing in something like, I see that you indicated that you're available to do cover letter reviews. Is that something that you would be willing to help me with? So that could be, but again, I wouldn't make that my very first thing I do. Maybe try to get to know the person first. All right, some additional filters that you'll find have to do with the company and organization. So let's say you are looking, I'm actually going to clear all of these filters, because what you'll find if you allow them to build up, you'll start getting less and less people in there. So try to clear the filters as best you can. Let's say I wanted to work at Johnson & Johnson. I can put down, put that in, and then I can put, you can also indicate, is this a current position that they hold? Or if you just want to see anyone that worked at Johnson & Johnson, just so you can begin to get an understanding. What is that company like? What's the culture like? You could talk to anyone that worked there. But you can apply that search and you will begin to see people who work at Johnson & Johnson. Okay, and I'll show you that in a moment. In addition to a company search, you can also do a user type. Are they an alum? Are they a friend of Penn State? Friends of Penn State could be parents, they could be employers, it could vary. And so definitely check, it could be faculty or staff. So you may want to look at that carefully as well. You also can find people based on the activities and areas of interest. So let's say you're trying to find former Student Government Association members. You could put that in here and see if anybody pops up. The value in doing something like that is that you're likely to find people with similar interests as yours, which would allow for a better conversation when you all meet up. So you could talk about your days, your days as being an SGA president or vice president or treasurer. And so that's something that you all would have in common, which makes networking a little easier. You can also see that you can search by keywords, by additional topics. And so the additional topics could be anything from affinity groups, like LGBTQ, women's issues, if you're an international student. But you can see there's just such value when you can indicate that type of detail. Alumni affiliation, so if you belong to an association, an alumni association around the world, that's something you could indicate. Geographic area is important, especially if you're trying to make connections in a different state or country. That can be most helpful. All right, international experiences, like did you study abroad and where did you study? That could be helpful. I'm not going to open all of these just so that we can scroll through. Additionally, you can just search by the Penn State campus. I want to see what fellow Penn State Abington folks are doing in their careers. So you could do that search, or Penn State College. The year of graduation is important too. So if you're only trying to find young alumni, you may want to put in the year of graduation. If you're looking for more seasoned professionals, maybe folks that are in the position to do some hiring, you may want to make those years a little bit broader. And then of course, student organizations, okay? So I wanted to share all that with you because I think it's important that you know these filters are probably the most important thing. I am gonna let's check out one profile and then I'll move to your questions before we have to wrap up. So if we were interested in Chloe's background, because she works at Johnson & Johnson, she's a Gold Associate at Johnson & Johnson. She graduated in 2014. She resides in Los Angeles, California. We can learn more about her background. And again, she chose to include all of this information, or it was taken from her LinkedIn profile. We can also see exactly what does she do at Johnson & Johnson and if she's currently there. And then a little bit more about her background, her educational background, and here's where the gold of this website is. How is she willing to help? And so anything business related or around medicine, healthcare, public health, if you're interested in these topics, Chloe is somebody that you definitely would want to reach out to if Johnson & Johnson is of interest to you, or if these topics are of interest to you. Okay, and so you can see she graduated from the University Park campus, the College of Engineering. She was also a Lion ambassador. So any fellow Lion ambassadors may want to reach out because they have something definitely in common. Okay, so with that said, this is the platform of LionLink, and it is a gem. I cannot say enough about it. I've used it myself. I've also received invitations to connect from fellow Penn Staters, and I can tell you there is true value in the network. And so I would encourage each of you to get on to this platform and begin utilizing it. So at this time, I think what I'm going to do is move on to some of your questions. And so let me go to the Q&A box. I'm sorry that you cannot see, I think I received a question that you could not see the LionLink website. I sure hope everyone was able to see the LionLink website. If not, you can certainly go to the Penn State Abington website, click on the 24/7 career tools and look for the LionLink link, and you can get on the platform yourself, okay? One other thing, where do you access the recordings? Again, go to the Penn State Abington website and you will see a section in there for webinars. So if you go to our event section, look on the left-hand rail, you will see a link that says webinars, and that's where you'll find all the recordings, okay? I think we may have a few more. Let me just check. Okay. My apologies, I'm not sure why you all were not able to see the guide, but again, go to our website and you will be able to find the career guide. Okay. It looked like people were having difficulties with the seeing some of it, but otherwise it looks like there aren't any more questions. But I want to extend a huge offer to all of you again. If you have questions for me, my name is Tina Vance Knight. Please do not hesitate to reach out. I am available to work with you, especially if you're an Abington student. But again, I believe in giving back to fellow Penn Staters. And so if I can do anything to be of service to you, please do not hesitate to reach out.